Good morning, my darlings. My name is Victoria and this is Veritas Tarot. I love to do readings for love, obviously love of another, but most importantly love for oneself, because you can't pour from an empty cup, hence my cup of tea tarot. And in England there's nothing that a good cup of tea and a natter with a great friend can't solve. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have a cup of tea and a natter with spirit to see what messages they have for you. If the reading doesn't resonate, please don't try and make it fit. It'll be for somebody else. And I always believe that these readings that I do and other readers do, they're for the right person to see at the right time, and Spirit will always guide that person to see them at exactly the right time for them. So let's move on with your meeting. So I'm going to be doing this Six of Cups soulmate reading. I'm going to be looking at where you are in your headspace, where you are in your heart space, where your soulmate is in their head and heart space. We'll have a card for advice from Spirit, and then I'll pull you a couple of oracle cards as well. So let's move on with your reading. So Libra, where are you in your headspace right now? I tend to just try and take one card. Sometimes Spirit gets overexcited and if they have messages to come through. But we've got here just the one card for you. So we've got the rebirth card. This is a beautiful card. Whatever you have gone through, it's led to this rebirth. It's led to this new cycle. This is like the Fool card. And to get to the Fool card, you've had to have gone through the whole cycle of major arcanas. And you have come into this new cycle, I'm feeling, with a much higher raised vibration. You've come through this last cycle that you've been through has taught you many things, and I believe it's taught you about going with the flow, about trusting the universe, letting go and letting God, and understanding sometimes that obstacles are put in front of us. They're not there to stop us. They're just there to halt us in our journey if there are things that we still need to learn and release and let go of. And do you see how beautiful this is? You've got this guidance here. You know, you're being very divinely guided, very divinely protected. And this river is just flowing to all of that light. And one of the things I'll always say when I see water and a river and a card like this is that, when we this rebirth is happening for you. There are no oars there. There's no, and I always see the oars as sort of trying to control things out of fear and anxiety. You're not doing that anymore. You're going with the flow, and you're allowing the river to take you at the pace it's meant to take you. You've let go and let God, and that's just beautiful to see that that's in your head space. This is not something, in your heart space, in your soul space, that's fabulous. That's what your soul always wants you to do. But the fact this is in your head space means this is very much a conscious driving, a conscious understanding of where you are right now. So that's beautiful. Let's see what's in your heart space. Let's see what's in your heart space. One card, please, Spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What's in Libra's heart space? Thank you. So you've got the Knight of Shields. So this is beautiful. So the Knight of Shields is the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles, I'm sure you've heard before, is the only knight that crosses the finishing line. It's a little bit like the tortoise and the hare. And you know that this natural pace of the universe is the only pace that brings you peace and comfort and understanding. And so what your heart space is knowing that whatever's coming in for you, whatever with your soulmates coming in for you, you want it to be from that same understanding. You want it to be solid. You want it to be grounding. You don't want it to be rushed. You want this to go in divine law. You want this to go in divine timing. You want whoever's your heart is talking to. You're talking to them and saying this needs to be done properly, and this needs to be done from a very balanced perspective. The fact that we have the dragon here and you have all of this cold, your soulmate, you have gone through this period of this snow war is like a symbolic ending. But this is your soulmate coming in, and they've gone through the same. And this dragon represents that protection of the universe and the divine timing of it. And you see he's wearing the green cloak. So this is whatever is coming in for you. This is what your heart desires, is coming in from a place of love. And you know, he has this open face. So I love seeing that. Let's see what's in your soulmate's headspace at the moment. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One card, please. Thank you. So they have the Seven of Cauldrons, the Seven of Cups. So they have come to an understanding, I think, of cycles that they've gone through that have not served them. And none of that's wrong, because what God does so beautifully. If we are not learning things in various cycles and in various patterns of our lives, we get little slaps from the universe to try and give us a nudge to kind of, you know, we are all, we're human, and we all have conditioned behaviours. We all have things that have come out of hurts and wounds and things in the past that we then kind of try and protect ourselves, and we get triggered by things. And so where your soulmate is in their headspace, they've been divinely guided through all these cycles in their life, and they've maybe had a few slaps from the universe, but they've understood. Do you see this seventh cup? And the seven is always about angels being around us. They're looking at that seventh cup. They know that they've had to go through this journey in their life to understand, you know, what love is, what they do want, because they've also experienced what they don't want, and those are the things that are unfulfilling. I mean, the Seven of Cups is always about choices and options and sometimes confusion, and maybe they're in that space still, in their headspace of being confused, but he, as far as I can see, is looking straight at that cup. So there is clarity in his mind about having gone through contrasts and seeing what he doesn't want to understand, or she understand what they do want. So that's very beautiful to see. And it is still a little emotional for him or her. They do have the water here is not quite smooth, it's not quite clear, but it's certainly not rough. So they're coming through something at the moment. And you know, this is what your heart, this is in your heart space. And they're getting there. It's always about divine timing, and it's about patience from you, because we all move through our journeys at different paces. And it's about allowing somebody else to be on their journey in their own space, because the only person that really upsets is you. If you have this impatience for something to happen when you feel it's right, God's the only one who knows when it's right for us, and he always does it with a beautiful fanfare when it happens. So just trust, let go and let God. This is what you're doing. Remember that rebirth card. You're letting go and let God. Let's see what's in your soulmate's heart space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Got too many cards, sorry, but I did see the Eight of Wands, which is very beautiful. Again, too many cards. One card, please. Heart space for Libra's soulmate. Thank you. Okay, so they have gone through this. I've got the Five of Swords and the Four of Cauldrons. Both came out. So this is in their heart space. So, you know, I talked to you about these contrasts, these cycles that they've gone through. So it's our feelings that I want to use the word drivers. I don't know if it is drivers, but it's our feelings that we listen to. We can listen to our thoughts, but it's how we feel when we listen to those thoughts or what drives us forward. So in their heart space, you know, there has been a lot of heartache for them. I think there's been quite a lot of bewilderment, and I'm going to look at this Five of Swords first of all. You know, this person has, his head is bowed. You know, has he won the battle? Has he lost the battle? There is upset around him. People are, you know, it's a very traumatic space, and he knows that something's not quite right. You know, this isn't a victory. This certainly is not the Six of Wands. This isn't a victory. This is the Five of Swords. This is conflict, and he has these two swords here. And I always feel like those two swords are like the two swords of fear, you know, when they cross over their heart. He's taken these two swords with him. And maybe those two swords, thank you, Spirit, also represent, you know, the clarity that he's he's gained through this, and the knowledge that he's gained through this as well. So remember that everybody has to go. You can't fix anybody. You can't mend anybody. Only somebody willing to mend themselves can mend themselves. But he is in that space, and he's had to go through this, those feelings of that, to get to this Seven of Cups where he knows. And this is only confirmed by the Four of Cups as well. Because I think, you know, in his heart, his feelings, he's been focused on the lack of, he's been focused on those sort of 3 cups there, which is kind of what's happened in the past, maybe what's happening in the present, and his fears about what's going to happen in the future. And in being in that lack of space, he's been ignoring what his soul's been trying to tell him, what God's been trying to tell him. But that's the cup there, the same cup. And now it's moved from his heart to his head. So he's starting to be very consciously aware of what he does want in his life. And that's only because he's had to go through this contrast of unlearning what he doesn't want. He's also had some grounding. That I'm sort of seeing him leaning against a tree there as well. But he's certainly moving. He's moving towards you. Let's see what advice from Spirit is. Thank you. Okay. Advice from Spirit is that 5 of Wands. Okay, and you again here have this 5 of Swords. So the 5 of Wands, for me, this particular 5 of Wands is about, do you see here the four of them there? They're having a good old row and a good old discussion. Nobody's really listening to each other. They're all just speaking what they think they want to, you know, what needs to be said. But it's been done from a place of pain, the pain body, the ego, whatever. Now, this is Spirit's advice for you. You are this 5th one, okay? You are the one holding this wand, and you're actually apart from all of this. And Spirit is saying to you, you remain in your positive vibe space. You are going through, or you have gone through this rebirth. You've entered a new cycle. That means not getting drawn back into any negative space or energies or other people's opinions or what people think about it. You stay in your own truth, because that is the way you manifest. That is why, you know, when you go through these cycles, this is how you create your own reality. So it's just advice to stay away from any negativity at the moment and understand that everything is happening at its own pace. Don't be frustrated. Don't be frustrated, because there is always God's hand in everything. Everything. And remember, everything's a gift. Every experience we have, whether it's a surprise and delight or something that makes us feel sad or uncomfortable, it's all a gift from Spirit. And it's either a gift of learning or it's a gift of giving in terms of a lovely manifestation, because we've been in that extraordinary I am grateful space. So please do remember that and remain in that space. I am now going to pull you some clarifiers on these cards. And we're going to go back to your rebirth card, and we're just going to clarify that. Thank you very much. Thank you for clarifying the rebirth card. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Oh, well, it's amazing. Look at that. You've got the Star card. So, do you remember I talked to you about going through one cycle to get into the next cycle? And actually, to get to this rebirth card, you've had to go through a huge transformation, and you've shifted and changed your vibration. That's because of this Star card. Look how beautiful that is. You only get the Star card when you've gone through something that is very transformative, and you've had to do some really deep soul searching and onion peeling, as I call it. And onions always make you cry, but you've certainly done that. And this is also, you know, with the Star card, it's very much your manifestations, it's very much the divine guidance, and it's very much being divinely protected. And that's absolutely beautiful. You know, you are standing in there in the water, and whatever thoughts you're creating at the moment, I'm seeing this then with the ripples at her feet, whatever thoughts that you're creating, whatever thoughts you're thinking at the moment, they are creating your reality, and you know that. You know that. So that's what that ripple effect is. It's very powerful, our thoughts. And you've got this extraordinary, you know, this is almost like your sort of chakras, but you're very connected to Spirit. And this is your feminine side here. So, you know, your divine feminine side is very, very spiritually connected and completely being guided and protected by spirit there with all the stars. So that's absolutely beautiful to have the rebirth card and the star like that to explain it. Let's look at the Knight of Shields. This is what's in your heart space. Thank you, thank you. And you know, this is about what you know you deserve, this Knight of Shields. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please clarify the Knight of Shields. Thank you. Yes, you've got the Five of Pentacles. So you've had to go through this contrast as well. And it hasn't been... whatever you've gone through in the past hasn't been balanced, because you have the Five of Pentacles, which means feeling left out in the cold. But the 5 and this 1 makes the 6, which brings it into balance, because the 6 of Pentacles is all about balance. And so you know that you are now in that receiving mode, and whatever you're going to receive is going to bring balance back into a relationship where maybe there wasn't before. And the 5 of Pentacles is, you know, it's again something you don't really want to be in that space, and that's why you're wanting this solid offer to come in, because you know you deserve better than that. And that's why you went through that great period of healing to come through this transformative stage. It's been a huge journey for you, and Spirit is saying well done. I am now going to clarify the 7 of Cups, which is what's in your soulmate's headspace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please clarify. Too many cards, thank you. Please clarify the 7 of Cups. Please clarify the 7 of Cups. Please clarify the 7 of Cups. I saw the King of Cups there. Please clarify the 7 of Cups. Thank you. So you've got the Queen of Wands. That's you, basically. You see this with the, again, I just go back to that rose. You know, this is in their headspace. This, they know. This is you. This is this passionate, divinely guided, protected. You see with the dragon there behind you. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see a bit better. Thank you. You have received so many gifts from the universe now. The flowers represent that. You know, you've received gift after gift after gift, and you're ready. You've been sharing them as well. I mean, it's been extraordinary. Do you see as well? You know, this is your cat intuition, constantly giving you more gifts, more receiving thoughts. You know, I always talk about receiving thoughts being that thought from your soul, your higher self, from God, from spirit, from the universe, whatever you want to call it. And that is the thought that comes. It's your highest thought. It's always your higher self. It's always from love. And that's why you're in this extraordinary space. And you are also being very protected at the moment. And your soulmate knows that you come from that place of understanding your self-worth, understanding self-love, and that you've done this through going through the experiences that you have done. And no wonder they can't keep their eyes off you. I mean, look at her. She's absolutely awesome. So let me move on to in their heart space. Thank you, guys. Yeah, you've got the 6 of Wands. So again, this is so beautiful. So this is in their heart space for you. Again, they've had to go through these contrasts. They've had to go through these life lessons. They've had a period of time where they may be ignoring them and being a bit down and you know, but they've come through that, because this is where they now are consciously feeling about you. And this is the clarifier for it in their heart space. This is the 6 of Wands. This is again how they see you. Do you see? It's the same person here, and she's got these flowers. She's received all these gifts, and you are now in this space where people are admiring you and looking at you and saying, my God, it's amazing, and she's in such an extraordinary space, and you're able to share these gifts with others, because it's like the more self-love you have, the more love you are able to give others unconditionally, because you're coming from a place of overflowing love rather than a bucket with an empty hole in it. And this is how your soulmate sees you, this incredibly extraordinary giving person, somebody quite mystical, somebody that people look at and admire. And yeah, you're being applauded. I mean, Spirit's applauding you as well. I mean, how fabulous is that? They're full of admiration for you, your soulmate, full of admiration for you. Let's clarify the Five of Wands, please. This is the advice from Spirit. Thank you. Too many cards, please. What's the Moon card? Which is about not being in your fear space. Please clarify. Five of Wands, please. Thank you very much, Spirit. Thank you. Please clarify the Five of Wands. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Still too many cards. One card, please. Thank you, guys. One card. Thank you. You flew out. You flew out. So yes, you have the Eight of Cups, which is about walking away. Walking away from that, not choosing, not to allow yourself to step into that space, that negative space in your mind, that negative space with others. You get on and do in your life what you're meant to be doing for your greatest good. All of these cups, they're all great, they're all lovely, but they're not serving you. And so the advice from Spirit is it's to do what makes you happy, to continue on your journey, your path. You know what that is. You've gone through a rebirth and you know what that is. And you've had the Star card. You know you're being divinely guided and divinely protected. So you keep focusing on you, because the more you focus on you and the more you focus on your self-love, the more you allow your soulmate to go through the journey at their own pace. You can hold the space for them, but you keep moving forward. And do you see here, as we know, there is so much that represents to me sort of untapped spiritual knowledge. There is so much still, you know, we learn every day. Every day we are so blessed to learn more and more and more, and you know there's more for you to learn and grow from this. But it's very beautiful. I'm going to pull you, and on the bottom of that deck, by the way, you have the Magician, so it's very much about manifesting, and that's absolutely beautiful. I am going to pull you a animal tarot card. It's a little bit like an oracle card. So let's look at that. But it is a beautiful reading. This is very much been a soul transformation for you, and your soulmate's been very much part of that. And they are very proud of you. I don't know whether you're together or apart, but they're very proud of you. I believe you're together because I've just had the Two of Summer fall out, which are these two little budgerigars, and it says lovebird, so yes, you are together. And look at that, they're green, it's all about, and white, it's all about the heart space and peace and everything. The lovebirds. You're falling in love or experiencing a deepening of emotion in your current relationship. Marriages or romantic partnerships in distress can still be saved. Don't give up. So there you go. That's a wonderful, beautiful sign for you. Whatever this journey is between you, because of where you are on your journey, and because you are allowing the other to be at a different pace than you, and because you are doing this, focusing on yourself, which only in turn helps them, you're being told, if you are in a relationship, don't worry, it's all part of God's plan at the moment. And you know, God always, it's simply let go and let God, trust him. It's all exactly as it should be, and that's so beautiful. Don't give up. It's all happening as it's meant to. I am also going to pull you one card from my Angels and Ancestors deck. Oh, and just to, sorry, one other thing I've just seen on this card with the Two of Summer. Do you see that there's sort of ivy there? The ivy here kind of represents that commitment to one another, that sort of long relationship. It's about you not letting go of each other, because you know that this is something that you're destined to do together, and it's about that sort of joint thriving towards enlightenment, which you have achieved, and which I know that your soulmate is going to achieve. So, and it's, you know, to be alert that they're going through an awakening themselves. One more message, please. Oh my goodness, they all flew out. This is a message for you, obviously a big message. Oh, that's lovely. So you've got two here. You've got Medicine Guardian, which says, be open to healing information. So maybe you are a healer, and this is something that you have learned as part of your rebirth. And you see here with the snake entwining here, so this is something, this whole journey you've done with your soulmate has brought you to this place. You know, the snakes entwined, this rebirth together. You know, snakes shed their skin. So this whole relationship you've had with your soulmate has been a gift from God to allow you to be where you are now in your spiritual awareness, in your transformation, in your enlightenment, which I believe is huge. You know, the star card is something very, very special, and I believe you are a healer. And so this is just advice from Spirit about being very aware of those gifts that you have there. And the other card just comes back to that self-love thing. It's the Heart Guardian, and it says, love and let yourself be loved. So this is about having no fear. And love and let yourself be loved is also about loving yourself. And when you love yourself, then you allow others to love you, because you know that you are in a space of not need, and therefore you don't feel vulnerable. When people are in a space of lacking self-worth and self-love, they either look for too much love from somebody else to fill it in themselves, or they're terrified of receiving love because they're terrified of rejection. And this is just a reminder for you about how extraordinary you are, and that you are love. I mean, as God always says, if you can't do anything from love, you know, don't do it at all. I'm sure he didn't say it quite like that. I'm sure he said it beautifully and much better, but that's what it really boils down to. If you can't do it from love, then don't do it at all. And you've really come into this beautiful, unconditional soul love, and it's fabulous. I mean, it's a very beautiful reading, Libra. It's been an absolutely soul life-changing journey for you with your soulmate, and they are very proud of you. This change is happening. This change is happening with them. So well done. You're amazing. Okay, well, that was the reading for you. I hope it resonated with somebody, and I look forward to having a chat and a cup of tea and a natter with you next week with Spirit too. And in the meantime, take care and have a lovely week, my darlings. Bye bye.